Hey, what's up everybody? It's the People's Crypto. I'm back again with another video. In this video, I'm going to discuss Richard Cantillon's Cantillon effect and its relationship to Bitcoin and how Bitcoin is the great equalizer in destroying this Cantillon effect or even the playing field. Alright, so before we jump into it, please keep in mind that this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research or seek out a financial advisor if you can afford it. If not, then Google is your best friend. So let's jump right into it. So Richard Cantillion, or Cantillon, I don't know, I've been pronouncing it wrong, but Richard Cantillion was an Irish-French economist and author of, I'm not even going to pronounce it because I'm horrible at this, Essay of Nature of Trade in General, a book considered by William Stanley Jevons to be a cradle of political economy. Although little information exists on Cantillon's life, it is known that he became a successful banker and merchant at an early age. His success was largely derived from the political and business connections he made through his family and through an early employer, James Brages. During the late 1710s and early 1720s, Cantillon speculated in and later helped fund John Law's Mississippi Company, from which he acquired great wealth. However, his success came at a cost to his debtors, who pursued him with lawsuits, criminal charges, and even murder plots until his death in 1734. Alright, so there's an article you should probably check out. It's called Two Satoshis or Two Stats, Bitcoin and the Cantillon Effect, and you can find it at cryptomondes.com. Alright, so I'm going to try to break this down as simple as possible for people. So the Cantillon effect, essentially, all right, so let's imagine we're playing a game of Monopoly and I'm in control of the money and you're on the other end of the table or whatever. So while playing this game, I also have some friends. Now, I'm distributing the money to everyone. However, what you don't know is I'm giving my friends more of this Monopoly money. So they're getting more of this money, and I'm also giving myself more of this money too. But you being on the other end of the table, you have no clue. You're thinking that everything is being distributed equally. So as we're playing this game, what tends to happen is my friends and I are purchasing things on the board as the game goes on. Now, what will tend to happen is we'll have most of the properties, we'll have all of the assets, and we'll be making all the money when you land on our properties. Now, that's the essential basics of what the Cantillon effect is. So you have these central banks who are rewarding the banks and their friends and all of these people. They're basically getting these injections of freshly printed or digitally created cash, and they're distributing it to their people, their friends, their buddies. Now, since you're on the other, since you're on the outside looking in, you have to work for your money. You have to earn your stripes. So it's really not fair to you that you're playing this game with us and you're already at a disadvantage because you don't have enough money. Now, that's the real basics of what the Cantillon effect is. It's basically the people who are in the elite or the top 1%. They reward their friends, family, and whoever, the banks, you name it. They all get the money first. Now, that is a very big problem because what will happen is, since now you have to go out and fend for yourself, you're not able to keep up with the 1%. They buy everything, property, stocks, you name it. They get their hands on all the assets as quickly as possible, and for a relatively cheap price, since they're getting these injections first. Now, it's going to make life so much difficult for you because you have to catch up, and you can't really catch up since you don't have the capital to. So that's what the Cantillon effect essentially is. So it's basically the people who are in VIP, they get rewarded with the bottle service, with all the perks and benefits of being in VIP. Now, since you're not in VIP, you have to pay for all your drinks. You have to pay for everything, entrance, you name it. It's a really big disadvantage to you, and it's not fair, so you have to kind of like think of it that way. It's kind of like going to a club, VIP. There's so many different analogies I can use to illustrate what the Cantillon effect is. But essentially, since you're not in the popular club or the elite club, you don't get the perks and benefits of being in this particular class. So the Cantillion effect is essentially that. The higher ups, they get all the perks and benefits as regular 9-to-5ers or people who are playing this Monopoly game. You're on the outside looking in, and there's really nothing you can do about it. Now, what's cool about Bitcoin is we know that there's only 21 million Bitcoin, and the price right now of one Bitcoin is around $9,200 from the time of me making this video. Now, what Bitcoin does is no one is in control of the supply of Bitcoin. Yes, you have exchanges that have Bitcoin, and you can probably purchase it over the counter. There's different ways you can purchase it, but essentially, if one person wants to buy one Bitcoin, they have to pay the $9,200 or whatever the price maybe is from the time of me making this video. It's a great equalizer. When it comes to fiat money, there's unequal distribution of money. So for all the people who are at the top, they get their hands first on digital cash or dollars or whatever, or euros, and everyone else in society has to go out and work a 9-to-5 or work a gig economy job, or they have to do whatever means to make a living. It is completely not fair. It is, I can make this analogy too. I am the teacher and I have some students in the class that are like friends of the family, and they're getting the answers to the exam before anyone else because we have a relationship or we have a shared interest. And they get the 90s and 100s on the exam, while everyone else in the class who I don't know, they have to actually study and earn their stripes. Yes, you will have a couple people who will do relatively well, but 9 out of 10 times everyone will perform average or maybe below average. You know, it's also based on if I'm a good teacher or not. That's, I guess, another analogy you can think of it as. But it's like the ultimate cheat code if you're playing a video game. If you've ever played Grand Theft Auto or any video game and you've had the cheat codes, it's so much easier to beat the game once you have access to the codes, because then it almost makes you invincible. That is essentially what the Cantillion effect is. These people have the cheat code to life, and they have an unlimited amount of money, and they can purchase whatever they want. They can go on vacations at any time. They don't really have to work all that hard, you know. And it sucks for people who are working 40 hours a week or who are working 2 jobs just to, you know, get by. It makes it really difficult. And also what sucks is because of these injections that they receive in cash or digital money or digital fiat, these people also contribute to inflation. Now, that's just going to make it so much harder for the little guy. Now, for the people who already have money, inflation doesn't even really matter because they have so much of it. So as they pump more money into the system, the people take their cut at the top, and everyone else at the bottom basically has to fight one another, or they have to figure something out to get by. You know, in this article, I think it said the Cantillion effect benefited the upper middle class. Yeah, to a certain degree, but right now what's going on is I believe even the upper middle class is being eradicated. And this is happening in almost every single country with, you know, this current health crisis that we have. So this is somewhat like the nail in the coffin for the entire middle class. You know, no one is safe because so many businesses have been closed due to, you know, this health crisis. So those people who did have mom and pop hardware stores, if that even exists, because we have Home Depot, Lowe's, and other different hardware chains in the US and globally, those people were forced to close for X amount of months. And, you know, it makes it difficult to stock your stores or sell to customers if you're not able to operate, if you're not considered an essential business. So things have been accelerated so far with this health crisis, and we see the bailouts. We see, you know, certain companies getting handpicked to get this fresh freshly printed or digitally created cash, while other companies are unfortunately forced to file for bankruptcy, whether that's Chapter 7 or Chapter 11. They're forced to shut operations down. Now, this isn't fair, but unfortunately, that's what the system that's the system we live in now. Bitcoin is the great equalizer in all of this, and everyone has to pay that 9,000 or whatever price that Bitcoin may be from the time you're watching this. It's the greatest equalizer. There's no one in control of the supply. I mean, you do have miners, but they occasionally sell to fund their costs and other overhead operations. So it's the greatest equalizer. There's no one sitting by a digital ledger creating more money. It's a fixed supply. Also, if you don't like Bitcoin, I've said this so many times, you have your options of getting gold and silver. It probably won't perform as well as Bitcoin going forward in the future. However, it still will help you to preserve your wealth. Bitcoin is probably the fastest race in the horse. I mean, the fastest horse in the race. So your potential to grow your wealth and preserve it is by far greater with Bitcoin than gold and silver. Don't get me wrong, you will preserve your wealth, but you probably won't grow it as much as Bitcoin because it's expected to hit anywhere from 50 to 100,000 and potentially to 1 million or more in the future. It's extremely speculative, so please do your own research. But that's essentially what the basis of the Cantillion effect is. You know, you just have to look at it as a group of people who are cool with one another, and they look out for friends and families and any of those businesses that they have a close relationship to. And everyone else who's not in that elite group, they don't get the benefit of getting free cash. So you would have to work for your money and figure things out on your own. Inflation is a result of it also because of the massive amount of money supply being pumped at the top. So when things become more pricey, you know, the little guy at the bottom, you'd have to pay a lot more for homes and other assets. But that's the basis of what the Cantillion effect is. And I'm going to just leave you with this quote. And this is from Meyer Ashelm Rothschild. I think I pronounced it wrong, but whatever. But the point is, this is a quote that he coined, and it's, quote, "Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes the laws." So at the end of the day, it's all about who controls the money supply. And the laws and all of that don't really matter. They can control that too once they have the money. But that's going to do it for this video. But let's quickly check the prices of the crypto market. So right now, Bitcoin's at $9,332.71. Ethereum's at $234.89. Tether's at $1. XRP's at 18 cents. Bitcoin Cash is at $233.38. Bitcoin SV is at $171.84. Litecoin's at $42.54. Binance is at $16.03. EOS is at $2.49. Cardano's at 8 cents. Tezos is at $2.61, and Chainlink is at $4.81. All right, please check out the website, thecryptocurrencyspace.com. There's also the cryptocurrencyspace.uk. And I think that's going to wrap it up. Please like, subscribe. If you're listening to this video on YouTube, if you're on Library, please reshare it with anyone on the platform. That's going to do it. I will see you guys at another time. See you later.